Hi guys, I'm in a forest today and I'm photographing fungi. This is a really good time to photograph fungi. We're at middle of autumn, end of October, and it's a great time. There's loads of fungi around, and this is a really good year in particular for fungi because it's been very wet throughout quite a lot of October actually, and that's really generated a lot of different fungi. They're growing all over the place, so this is a really great time. And I don't think you'll be able to see it on this camera, but I've got a little group of fungi here on this old tree stump, and it's really nice because they're just popping up above the tree stump, and then I've got a really nice warm background with all these old dead leaves, and I've got a green tree trunk, so it's a lovely colour combination because I've got these cool colours of the tree trunk here, or the tree stump I should say, and I've got these warm colours of the fungi and the dead leaf litter. And if you was to look at an artist's colour wheel, you'd see all the cool colours on one side and the warmer colours on the other side. So the reds, the oranges, the browns on one side, the greens, the yellows, the blues on the other side. And if you've got colours that are opposite each other on the colour wheel, that's really good because it creates a really nice contrast, and that's what I've got here. So I've got the warm fungi and the leaf litter and the lovely green of this tree trunk, and it's lovely. It's a really nice little subject. I've got my 90mm macro lens on, and I'm doing quite a close-up shot, although it's not like a one-to-one super macro shot. I've got a little group of about 3 or 4, and I could probably shoot this with a regular lens and just focus in really close. But using the macro lens gives me options later on for shooting sort of even more close-up shots, which is great. I'm also shooting on f5.6 because what I want is to blur the background out so it's nice and smooth. I did try shooting it on f11 and the background looked a bit blocky, so I've gone for f5.6 and I've focused on the biggest fungi in the picture, so that's great. And the other thing is as well, I'm shooting with a very low ISO number. I'm on ISO 100 because I want my best quality image. And I've got no worries about subject movement or camera shake because the camera's on the tripod, so that's great. I'm not going to get any camera shake or movement there. And the fungi, it's not like shooting flowers that move around, you know. They're really strong little sort of, not plants, but really strong little organisms. And so they're not going to move around, and plus the fact it's quite still. There's not a lot of wind around, so I'm not going to get any subject movement. So I've got no subject movement, I've got no camera movement, so it doesn't matter what shutter speed I shoot with. Now I'm actually on the 25th of a second at the moment because I'm on f5.6, so quite a lot of light is coming through the lens. But if I wanted to shoot with a bigger depth of field and go up to say f16 or even f22, that wouldn't matter. Obviously my shutter speed will get much slower, we'd be looking at, you know, into sort of half second, maybe 1 second. But as I say, I won't get any camera shake because the camera's on the tripod. I won't get any subject movement, so the shutter speed is fairly irrelevant. The other thing I've got is remote release, so I don't add any movement by pressing the shutter button. I use remote release, and I've got my camera on mirror lockup. So what that basically means is when I press the shutter release once, the mirror pops up, and I wait for a couple of seconds for any internal vibration to stop. Then I press the remote release again, and then the actual shutter opens and closes. So that way I reduce any chances of camera shake. I'm using manual focus because I'm in quite close and I find that's much easier, and I manually focus using live view. So I put it onto live view, I zoom right in onto the point I want to focus, magnify it by basically times 10, and then I can manually focus really accurately. So that's about it really. Oh, the other thing is as well, light. I've got very soft overcast conditions at the moment, which is perfect for this sort of photography. If it's sunny, you get overexposed patches, you get shadows getting in the way, and the light's too contrasty. If it's really thick cloud, then that can make the photograph look too dim, and if there is any subject movement, which obviously we haven't got here, that's a problem as well. But this is perfect. It's very light cloud, so I've got that soft light which reveals all the fine detail of my subject, and I've got decent light levels as well, so it's all looking good. And this is so relaxing, this sort of photography. I love this. Earlier in the year, I was photographing butterflies and dragonflies, and you've got to be a bit quick, and you've got to move into position, and you've got to make sure you don't disturb your subject. But this is great. This fungi is not going to move, so I can relax, I can move around, I can try different compositions, and it's lovely. I've got, as I say, I think 1, 2, 3 of the fungi in this shot. I'm probably going to change it and go zoom in on just one of them. But I've got all the time in the world to, you know, experiment with my compositions. So I think that's about it for now. I'm really enjoying my sort of walk through the woodland in autumn. As I say, autumn, October, you know, into November, a great time for fungi photography. So I think that's it for now, and I'll speak to you soon, guys. Right, okay, so hi guys again. I've moved just slightly, and I'm focusing on photographing just one fungi on its own now. And again, it's a really nice subject. It's just popping out the top of this this old log, and I've been photographing now for about, I don't know, getting on for an hour, and I've not moved more than a couple of feet. And that's the beauty of this sort of photography. Once you've found your subject, there's so many different options, because there's about a dozen, maybe 2 dozen fungi just growing out of this this one sort of log. It's fantastic. And what I've done here is I've got a really nice background. It's got like a light beige band, and then a darker beige band in the background. And the fungi sort of stands out quite well against that. And I've photographed it at different apertures again. I've photographed it at f4 or f4.5, f5.6, f11 and f16. And again, I feel that the wide open aperture is the best one, because you've got this lovely soft wash of colour in the background, and the fungi really stands out. Now, not the whole of the fungi is in sharp focus, because I'm quite close, and that reduces my depth of field. And also I'm using a really wide aperture, which a low f number, which again reduces my depth of field. But I think it actually really works for this shot. So I'm going to put them all on. I'm going to put the f4 one on, the f5.6, the f11 and the f16, and let me know which one you prefer. My personal favourite is the wide open f4 4.5 5 shot. And again, it's really interesting because it's a completely different effect as you increase your f number. So yeah, that's about it. I'm going to spend the whole afternoon shooting fungi, and if I get some more nice shots, I'll put them on the end of this vlog. I hope you've enjoyed it though, and I hope there's some useful tips in here for fungi photography. And the beauty of this type of photography, it's open to everybody, because you don't need to use a macro lens. You can use a zoom lens, and it might not necessarily be a really tight, you know, a magnification on that shot. But if you find some big fungi or some little groups of fungi, you certainly don't need a macro lens. So yeah, that's about it. I hope you've enjoyed it, and as always, if you have enjoyed it and you haven't already, if you can consider subscribing to my channel, that would be fantastic. And if you do subscribe, press the little bell icon so you're notified when my next video is up. And if you can give this a like or a share, that would be superb as well. So yeah, I'm having a lovely time. I'm going to definitely spend the whole afternoon in the forest. It's really relaxing. Apart from the odd plane going over, it's pretty quiet, and there's lots of autumn colours as well. So it's a really nice environment to be in. So that's it for now. I'll speak to you on my next video. So bye for now, guys.